Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Maverick News Channel. Hello, Maverick family. There's a lot going on out there, not just on our planet, but other planets too. We're going to show you some new images from Mars tonight. We also will talk about what has been happening right here in our own area, on our own planet, in our own country of Canada, out in Alberta. The United Conservative Party annual general meeting kind of erupted into a bit of division. And I think it took Premier Danielle Smith just a little bit by surprise, because it's in the whole thing, it's all centered around, well, you guessed it, separatism. So we'll talk about that tonight, as well as Donald Trump says that airspace over Venezuela is hereby closed. Sort of. Well, he wants it closed, but I don't think anybody's listening to him yet about that. So I'll show you when we come back on the other side.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are Maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching. Maverick News. The world is watching.
So the Prime Minister sits down with Danielle Smith, Alberta's Premier. They sign this Memorandum of Understanding. It's a framework for a pipeline deal. And a lot of Conservatives are saying this is a win for Alberta. It's a win for Danielle Smith. It's a win for Canada. But there are other Conservatives who are not happy and say that it's not really a deal. It's not a good deal. It's going to kill Alberta. or whatever they're saying, because the narrative has been broken a little bit among the separatist influencers who were out in full force at the United Conservative Party annual general meeting out in Alberta. Jeffrey Rath, one of the main architects of the plan to have Alberta separate and become independent outside of Canada, from the reactions that we've seen from the crowd today at the UCP AGM. Let's go to this clip here. They not only was it a subject of discussion, they gave Jeffrey Rath stage time at the UCP convention, and some say that is reinforcing the perception or the reality that, however you want to look at it, that the United Conservative Party is actually the party of separation in Alberta. It is a separatist party. At least that's the way some people are looking at it, and this gives some credibility to that. Here's Rath.
After that so-called MOU was signed yesterday, the ink wasn't dry on the paper, and Mark Carney went out and gleefully announced a 600% increase to the industrial carbon tax in Alberta. My question for the room is, how many of all of us favor a free and independent Alberta?
Well, you know, it put the Premier in a bit of a spot. I'm going to run the clip again, but this is more of an extended version. And Danielle Smith, the Premier, who gave the keynote address, of course, she sort of responds and giggles at the end nervously. Let's get this version.
My question for the room is, how many of all of us favor a free and independent Alberta? Raise your hand, stand up. Free and independent Alberta. Stand up for a free and independent Alberta. Stand up for a free and independent Alberta.
Well, I support an independent Alberta within a united Canada. That is my position.
We did that to send a message to Danielle Smith and to send a message to this cabinet that their party is an independence party. Their party wants a free and independent Alberta, and they'd better start leading like we're going to become a free and independent country, because that's what their members demand.
Yeah, I've been saying for a while that the party is largely influenced by separatists. It hasn't been readily apparent to a lot of people unless you're really following it. But yeah, separatists strongly embedded within the UCP. And the influence of the UCP extending into the Conservative Party of Canada as well. And that's what you're seeing with Pierre Poilievre. And it's interesting to me to hear that word free thrown around, a free and independent Alberta. It's amazing how many political movements through time, through history, have used that word free or freedom. And there it is. What does that mean? Free? A free and independent Alberta. Freer than you are now? What would make you freer? Define freedom. Define the word free. It sounds great. It's a great word to use to sell something, but I'm at the point now, because it's used so much, where I want people to define it. What does free mean? Like no charge? Like maybe just turn over the province to another country or sell it to them for, I don't know, $500 million, 500 million? What's the price? What's it cost to buy a political movement in Alberta these days? 500 million sounds like a bargain. Slush fund to help the separatist movement, maybe just a little bit. Well, I've been saying, that the current Prime Minister is not Justin Trudeau 2.0, it's Mark Carney 1.0. I've been saying that he is his own man, and in many ways, he is more conservative. Mark Carney, the current Prime Minister, is more conservative than Justin Trudeau. And I'm going to come back to that, and I'm going to show you how what's going on in Alberta is affecting the entire country, and it's resonating all the way out into Quebec, and in ways that maybe a lot of people aren't thinking about right now, because everybody is just focused on Alberta. But there are consequences and ramifications from all of that. But that the oil issue, the pipeline issue, the MOU is not the only subject or issue that surfaced today at the United Conservative Party AGM. Danielle Smith also touching on some other issues like bodily autonomy, and here I've got this clip here. Castle law, gun rights, and she's using the, what are they calling it? The Alberta Sovereignty Act. There's another word that's thrown around fairly loosely these days too, sovereignty. But it does mean something out in Alberta. Here she is addressing the Liberal gun grab.
I'm announcing today that next week, our UCP government will be introducing a new motion under the Alberta Sovereignty Within a United Canada Act that will, if passed in the legislature, instruct all provincial entities, including our municipalities and law enforcement agencies, to refuse to enforce or prosecute under the federal gun seizure program. Now, the Sovereignty Act motion will also make it clear that these agencies will not enforce or prosecute Albertans defending their homes and families from intruders. I got a little tip for low-life criminals out there. If you don't want to get shot, don't break into someone's house. It's really that simple, isn't it? It really is. We want our great men and women in law enforcement and our justice system to spend their precious time and effort going after criminals, not farmers, not ranchers or sport shooters, nor Albertans defending their families and their homes. Imagine that, right? And speaking of taking a stand, how about taking a stand?
So she's scoring points there and shoring up her support. She also addressed today the removal of explicit books from school libraries. So this is like banning books. Is it censorship? Oh, that's a difficult issue to deal with, isn't it? Where do you draw the line? Well, let's listen to what she says.
As Premier, I want to assure every parent and grandparent here today that under no circumstances will we back down from defending Alberta's children. And that means banning graphic sexual images from our school libraries, full stop. And it also means using the Charter's notwithstanding clause to protect our children by restricting puberty blockers for minors and prohibiting gender reassignment surgery until the child reaches adulthood. Of course, we will also protect. As Premier, I want to assure.
And so she was scoring points, and she did get her own standing ovations, as you saw, on quite a number of issues, including this one. Back to the pipeline issue, we saw, and this is going to segue into some of this other information that I bring to you tonight about how it's affecting Quebec. Smith commenting on Heritage Minister now, yeah, Stephen Guilbeault, formerly Minister of Environment under Trudeau, who resigned from Carney's cabinet because of the pipeline. So here's Smith talking about that, and she is basically saying adieu, Stephen Guilbeault.
Those who had opposed us, including the former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and his governing partner, the former federal NDP leader Jagmeet Singh, along with so many others who sought Alberta's economic demise, they've seen their political careers come to an abrupt and dramatic end. Including, I would add, former Trudeau Environment Minister Stephen Guilbeault. He, of course, resigned from cabinet on Thursday after the announcement of the new energy deal that repealed several of the anti-Alberta laws that he created. On behalf of all Albertans, Monsieur Guilbeault, we bid you adieu.
Yeah. And Guilbeault, he has been a long time environmental activist. He's the guy who scaled the CN Tower to unfurl that, I think it was a Greenpeace banner, got himself arrested, of course. And that made a lot of headlines. But there he was, out of his orange jumpsuit and into the cabinet with Justin Trudeau. But as I say, this is not Justin Trudeau 2.0. It's Mark Carney Liberal time. It is different. I don't think it goes far enough for a lot of conservatives, though, what's been going on. But we do now. And the reason I say that is because you saw how all of this has just not been enough to appease the separatists within the UCP. So there they were, giving Jeffrey Rath a standing ovation and then booing Danielle Smith when she said that she is in favor of an independent Alberta within a united Canada. Well, there's some nuance and complicated talk. But listen, if you really want to get into the nuance, listen to the way she giggles at the end. Do I have the clip here? Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Here it is here. I've got it. Yeah, listen to the way she giggles. I think this is the clip. She's nervous, is what I'm getting at here, okay? She's a nervous Nelly because they're playing with fire out there with all this separatism. They're playing with fire. You know, some of them are like, well, we want to vote. You should vote for separation in order to get a better deal for Alberta. It doesn't mean that we really want to separate. We just vote for it. You are playing with fire because you start messing around with foreign funded campaigns to break up the country. You start injecting separatist rhetoric into the political discourse, as you have been. You start talking about money, taxes, promising people a better deal if you leave the country. I'm just saying, you start going down the separatist road, it's a dangerous game to play because you have to be very careful. You might just get what you're playing for. The country breaking up. And some people, well, that's great. Maybe, maybe not. If you're Danielle Smith, you listen to the way she's giggling at the end here. I don't think she really wants to leave Canada. But when this happens, she now has a split within the party, you see, because the people who really do want to leave, they've got a lot of traction. And you can see, I don't know what the numbers really amount to here based on the standing ovation that Rath got. But I'd say probably close to 50% of the party members who are at this event stood up and listened to her reaction.
We might have a bit of a difference of opinion on that, but I hope people today feel a lot more confident that Canada works than they did a couple of days ago. We might have a bit of
Listen to the giggle at the end.
a difference of opinion on that, but I hope people today feel a lot more confident that Canada works than they did a couple of days ago.
Uh-oh. Yeah. Uh-oh. Well, I've been listening to some of the rhetoric out there too. Some people within the UCP, some conservatives out in Alberta, not happy with Danielle Smith, not happy with the way she's treating the teachers, and they're listening to the political rhetoric coming even from the NDP on various issues as they snipe at Smith. So they take a little piece of her here and a little piece of her there. That resonates with some of the UCPers, just the conservative voting base out in Alberta. And then they watch this all play out. And if you're, well, you can just see that it's you've got this real deep divide now, even within the party, with some people really wanting to leave the country and other people not really wanting to leave the country, Smith being one of them. But if she wants to hold on to her position as premier, she has a bit of a juggling act on her hands now because she has to keep both sides happy. She's saying an independent Alberta within a united Canada, whatever that really means. And then you have the others who are saying, you know, we really want to be an independent Alberta. You have others who want to become the 51st state. And Smith has to navigate through all of this. Over on the NDP side, which is the main opposition out there at the moment, the socialist side, if you will, you know, they don't have that rift within their own party. They all want to stay part of, you know, remain part of Canada, and they may well shave off some of the less dedicated conservative support, which could cost Danielle Smith the next election. And indeed, we've seen recalls take hold out there with some of the sitting provincial politicians on the Conservative Party side being they're going through a recall process. So much so, how many is it now? I think it's up to 5, maybe more, that somehow have fallen prey to recall process as voters in their ridings have taken the steps necessary to trigger recall review, which could remove them from office, triggering even, which could cost Danielle Smith her government status, her majority government. So it's creating a volatile situation. And then you get her into a minority situation, could trigger an election much earlier than she probably wants, all ahead of this big referendum. So there's heavy duty politics going on out there. And it's a blood sport. It's getting nasty. You've seen her talk about the demise of these liberal politicians like Guilbeault and even Justin Trudeau. And I'm listening to that and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, because you guys are there. You've been actively involved in the campaigns to really aggressively attack those politicians on every single level, using social media and influencers, the propaganda, the rhetoric, and whatever it takes to win, right? And so, yeah, a lot of it's been extremely effective. And I have to hand it to Danielle Smith for being so skilled in politics and being able to rise to the premiership and hold on to the position this long, and being able to continue to navigate through these choppy political waters out there in Alberta and nationally, and to pull Carney in and the Liberal Party even, and get them to sort of, well, abandon their climate change agenda and their fossil fuel policies. And I was saying he's going to do it. Carney is more conservative in many respects than Pierre Poilievre. His fiscal policies, his economic policies, his policies on oil. He's the guy who's getting it done. And this is creating another division within the conservative movement in Canada, because some people are like, well, Poilievre sucks. He's not popular. You actually see that there's some concerns about his leadership within the Conservative Party now, and that's because Carney keeps stealing Poilievre's thunder. During the election, it was all axe the tax. So Carney axed the tax, and it stole the platform from the Liberals, from the Conservatives. Trump goes to war with Canada economically, using tariffs, and Carney stole Pierre Poilievre's thunder by becoming the nationalist, when the nationalists are on the conservative side. So he trimmed off some of that support. He's done it again with this pipeline, with the conservatives, a lot of them not knowing what the hell to do. But here's the complexity in this whole thing. It's causing division out in Quebec. The shift by Carney, the pivot to pro-pipeline, is causing division within the Liberal Party now, because he's a little too conservative for some of those further left socialists like Stephen Guilbeault, who has resigned on principle for him over this pipeline issue, because he's saying that the party has essentially just abandoned the Trudeau era environmental policies, and he can't stand for it. So he threw a temper tantrum and stormed out. Well, now he's on the outside looking in, and I'm not the only, I'm just telling you, you think I've been under so much attack, so many people, you're a communist, Rick, you're a liberal. No, I'm just telling you how it is, because I'm not just one of these guys who sits here and repeats talking points that somebody sometimes just gives you to say. I'm not here campaigning for anybody. I'm trying to provide you with real analysis. Don't take it from me. If you think I'm making this up to try to make Carney look good, I'm just giving you political analysis. He's more conservative than Pierre Poilievre in a lot of ways, and just don't take my word for it. How about Peter Mansbridge or Chantal Hébert, political journalist and commentator? These are CBC types. Here's Chantal Hébert on the Bridge, which is Peter Mansbridge and his podcast. Listen to Chantal Hébert. Listen. I'm not a communist.
Let's face it, it wasn't a surprise. This has been leaked for quite some time. We knew what was coming. But at the end of the day, where are we on this story? Chantal, why don't you start?
Had the April election turned out differently and Pierre Poilievre become prime minister, I totally would have expected to cover a day like yesterday, which basically did away with most of what was left. There are still some little pieces left, but most of what was left of Justin Trudeau's climate infrastructure, and paved the way without consultation with one of the provinces in play or with the Indigenous nations that stand to be affected, paved the way for one or more pipelines. And if that had happened in the same circumstances, I would have said two things. One, the Conservatives campaigned on this. This is the platform. Actually, a Conservative friend yesterday pointed out this could have been written by Stephen Harper. That's not criticism. It came from a Conservative person who likes Stephen Harper, but that was totally accurate. So that would have been my first finding. This government has a mandate for this. My second would have been good luck.
Did you hear that? What did I tell you? It could have been written by Stephen Harper. And what have I been saying? That's why Harper wanted Carney to be his finance minister, but Carney said no. Because politics is complicated. It makes for strange bedfellows. And there's bleed, like crossover. There's contamination of conservatives into the liberal camp and liberals into the conservative camp. You have a progressive wing of the Conservative Party, and you have a more conservative wing of the Conservative Party. On the liberal side, you have blue liberals, conservatives, and you have red liberals who are more progressive. We're very progressive. We're very socialist. And you even have some outright communists in there. Also, so too, in the NDP. You have a kind of a mix over there as well. But they all, you further left you go with the NDP, you're certainly getting into heavy-duty socialism over there, and even outright communism, I would say in some cases. And even so, I don't hate them. Some of them I like, but I'm not a communist. But even if I were, so what? If you believe in free speech, which is what this place is supposed to be about, you're supposed to tolerate that. I'll be right back. Hang on.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, defending free speech, Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Let's go back and pick this up a little bit further on in this podcast, which I'll put the link in the Rumble channel. Chantal Hébert, really, I was going to comment on this, but I'm going to let her say it because she just nails it anyway. So why should I try to paraphrase what she's saying when it's basically right here? I think I have the section queued up where she's now going to explain sort of the impact that this shift on the Liberal side is having and this MOU is having on the politics of Quebec, where you also have a separatist movement that is being reignited.
Do we still have really a climate agenda? But let's talk politics, since we're all into how we are supposed to be happy that Alberta is happy. Let's talk about Mr. Guilbeault's resignation and its possible impact. There are impacts in two places. One is BC, obviously. This puts more pressure on Liberal MPs in BC to explain to the many NDP voters who switched to the Liberals in BC in April that this was what they always had in mind, to bypass the NDP government of the province and say we're going to build one or more pipelines to tidewater in your province, and at some point we're going to show you how much money you're going to make out of it. So the fact that Guilbeault leaves, and he does leave on principle, makes voters ask, well, if he leaves on principle and it's our province that's being trampled and not even his, and I'm talking the perspective of NDP voters, what does that make you? Gregor Robertson, former mayor of Vancouver, who made his name by wanting to sue over Trans Mountain and over greening the city of Vancouver's policies. Then move over to Quebec. I understand that a lot of people are celebrating Mr. Guilbeault's resignation outside Quebec. That's not happening here. And what's not happening here is he was an activist, a radical environmentalist. What has happened yesterday is that the Carney government has lost the person who is considered his moral caution on climate policy. And that is going to matter. And the first people who understood this have been the Bloc Québécois, because it will help them. And I will take it somewhere else. I'm used to environment ministers, by the way, resigning from the federal government over principle, and I'm used to the spin that they won't matter because they are. The last one was Lucien Bouchard. They won't matter in the... Yeah, I've heard it all. I'm sorry I have to do this again. Mr. Guilbeault was the Minister of Heritage. He has very big sway in the culture community in Quebec. The culture community in Quebec is very much tied to the climate issue. Guess where they are going to be going today? We are having an election in 6 months. I think the bottom line on this is that the Parti québécois has just gotten a significant assist, and the Federalists, who might be fighting a referendum in Quebec in the next election, have just lost some key voices to argue for the no side. But this will play out over months. And meanwhile, the Prime Minister, who speaks French when he absolutely has to, those images of him suddenly looking like it was a problem or I have to do this in French yesterday with Danielle Smith, have been going around in Quebec since yesterday. So a Prime Minister whose French is less than understandable when he goes into an explanation is going to end up having to explain to Quebecers how great the future is going to be in the province where the notion of climate and fossil fuel is probably one of the biggest ballot box issues by comparison to other provinces.
You see how complex the politics really is? You see, over here on this channel, you're not going to just have me sitting here saying F Carney, F Carney, or F Trudeau. First it was F Trudeau, then it's just, I mean, that's the level of sophistication that you get in some other places. It's just like, take those flags and cross out Trudeau, and now it's going to be F Carney, and that's what the low information voters out there are getting. Over here, I'm trying to give you a little bit more depth so you can really understand what's really going on. And this should illustrate for all of us how Alberta and, well, these separatists out in Alberta who keep telling everyone, especially people within Alberta, that they have no say, that Alberta has no sway, no influence over politics in Canada, they are full of crap. Look at the impact that Alberta is having on the entire country right now. Look at what has happened within the Liberal Party itself because of what's going on out in Alberta, because of the politics in Alberta. Danielle Smith stood up there tonight or today, and she said, she talked about those Liberal politicians whose careers have been kind of cut short. Why do you think that happened? That's because of what's going on largely out in Alberta. The country divided, the country possibly breaking up because of Alberta. Alberta has right now probably more influence and is having more impact on every other province in the entire country than any province within the Dominion or the Confederation. This is an illustration of how powerful Alberta is politically within Canada. And you think you can't win an election on the Conservative side because we don't have enough seats out in Alberta? No, you can. You are influencing heavily what's going on across the country, even in Quebec. Even though you seem to be diametrically opposed politically, you're feeding off each other, especially on the separatist side. You're helping each other rip the country apart. More than that, you're creating these very complex political divides and environments, within parties, within geographic regions that make Alberta very, very, very powerful within the political system. And there's a lot of respect that comes with that. And the Prime Minister recognized that. He's a very pragmatic guy. I don't think that he's that devoted to his ideology that so much so that, you know, you would see what you got with Trudeau, where he would dig his heels in and just do what he wanted, because I think he viewed himself largely as political royalty, but then in the end, he kind of got it in the neck and they gave him the hook and yanked him off stage, right? Because of all the politics mainly being fueled by what's going on out in Alberta, not just the issues, but like actual campaigns to get him out of there, right? Alberta's powerful. Alberta has sway. Alberta voters do make a difference. Yes, you do. You have influence. And yes, Conservatives can win government in this country because it's far more complex than that. And you need Quebec to win. You start dividing support out there. You've now given new ground to the Bloc instead of the Liberals. You're going to bleed that support off. And that paves the way. Look, the Liberals have a minority government right now. You trim off some of those seats out in Quebec, Alberta becomes much more important. These guys are lying to you. These separatists out in Alberta. They've been lying to you. And I hate to use that word, but they really are just misrepresenting the actual facts. You have a voice, especially when you get into these situations where you have minority governments or close elections, and Alberta makes a difference because you get that close and every single vote counts. Every vote counts anyway, but the closer the races become, the more important each vote counts, or the more important each vote is during an election. So I hope that enlightens us all a little bit. Thank you, Chantal Hebert. Yes, CBC. Nevertheless, I listen to everybody on all sides to get a broader perspective on things, and I try to bring that to bear here for you guys as well. So if you don't like suffering through CBC broadcasts, don't worry. From time to time, I do tune in so you don't have to. But then I kind of made you watch. Sorry.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, we're going to do the Donald Trump Truth Social scroll right now. And we're not going to really scroll. I just really want to show you this one post. It is important, sort of, I think. If not directly and immediately, the importance is pending. To all airlines, pilots, drug dealers, and human traffickers, let's bring it up larger. Can you see that okay? Yes, you can. He says, please consider the airspace above and surrounding Venezuela to be closed in its entirety. Thank you for your attention to this matter. President Donald J. Trump. Well, that's dramatic. Closing the airspace above and around a foreign country as tensions escalate between the United States and Venezuela. So that was, how long ago was that? 7:43 a.m. today. So I think that is serious, because we are hearing from the president that a land invasion may be imminent in order to combat drugs, which is an unorthodox approach to combating drug trafficking, to say the least. And it is giving rise and concern to many about the legality, the ethics, and even the morality of it, especially when boats are being blown up with missiles, killing people, over 80 now. But while the president says airspace above Venezuela is closed, we have these air traffic graphics which show the air traffic above Venezuela, which is showing you still have airlines flying in and out of there right now. So I don't think they're quite to the point where they're taking Donald Trump's Truth Social post as a direct order or directive or mandate. I think they're still waiting for the official word, if it comes. That's a lot of planes flying around out there. So as far as I can tell, the air traffic is still flying freely above Venezuela tonight, even as the president says, consider it closed, especially to all you narco drug lords, which ain't cool if that's what they're doing. The politics on the U.S. side, it's complex too. I've always said Canada really imports a lot of its political grief from the United States. We do. We get jealous, because we have to have the same problems. As soon as something erupts in the United States, whatever's going on politically in the US, it just kind of gets, it rubs off on us through media. And I think through a want here for people to just want to be as important or as dramatic as the US. And some of it's just because we get it through osmosis. But the complexity shines through tonight as Trump also says he is pausing all asylum decisions in the wake of the National Guard shootings. So this came down actually yesterday. He's directed U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services to pause all asylum decisions. And it's just their latest effort to tighten the American immigration system. Tighten, there's a word. Really, for me, hard to gauge how far and how lawful this whole thing has been, because like you, I'm watching it largely unfold on social media, which is a distortion of reality. It's a representation of it, but it is not always an accurate representation. It doesn't give you always an accurate perspective. Getting a sense, though, that it's maybe in some cases going too far. It says on Thursday, the Trump administration, this is CBS News, said it would start a review of asylum approvals under the Biden administration, citing the shooting of 2 National Guard members. And now they've said they're going to pause all asylum applications, I guess. Asylum cases are filed by foreigners who claim they will suffer persecution if deported or returned to their home countries because of certain factors, including their race, nationality, religion, or political views. So that automatically makes you think of what? Who would be affected by something like that? People coming from Latin America, Central America, from the Middle East, India. Who would be affected by such a directive? Well, I'm curious to know if it's affecting James Bowder. I've done an inquiry and it looks like it will. This is the Canadian trucker who claims to be the guy who started the convoy. And we had him on the program, and he's been on the program a few times, actually. And in many ways, I like James. I don't agree. This is me editorializing, and I'm entitled to have an opinion. I don't agree with what he's doing down there in the States, applying for political asylum as a Canadian trucker who he says is facing political persecution in Canada. I view it as a political stunt because I don't know that the U.S. is really any better these days than Canada is when it comes to politics, especially when you see the shootings, the killings even of politicians on the U.S. side. Politicians being shot on both sides, whether it's Trump or Charlie Kirk, who isn't technically a politician, but certainly a political activist, was. Democrat politicians shot, attacked in their homes. It's not a pretty sight down there. So people are being persecuted, even legally, as Trump calls for the execution of Democrats, political opponents who have just released that video that went viral where they're saying, if you're in the military, you are actually compelled to not follow unlawful orders or orders that are not lawful. So will James Bowder, what's going to happen to him? Because here, I'm going to show you something. I believe. Where is it? Yeah, here we go. You have to remember that he has been skipping his court dates in Canada because he fled the country. And so as a result, if you go back to, I think it was September, let's get this headline up. I'll look at the date on it. August 31st. Right here. Ottawa citizen convoy leader James Bowder faces Canada-wide warrant after failing to appear in court. So he fled the country in order to, I would say, make a political statement on the U.S. side by applying for asylum. We had him on. We talked about it, and then we did a couple of follow-up programs as well. So you can go back and refer to those if you're looking for the background and you don't remember. But he's been trying to weave his way through the court system down there through the asylum application process. I'm not sure how far along he is because for a while he kind of went dark online. And I'm not seeing him post anything about this order from Trump now to pause all asylum applications. So I checked it out. Information I got back indicates this will affect him and his case. So I don't know where that leaves him. I think it's like a double standard that is being applied to the James Bowder case because he claims to have people within the Trump administration, the MAGA camp, powerful people who are backing up his asylum application. So he's applying for asylum while other people are being deported. And he may be, I'm not sure he's even in the country through proper process. So what's the difference between James Bowder and, say, somebody from, I don't know, Central America someplace? Why would he be treated differently? I can come up with a few ideas, but I'd just be theorizing. Let's go back to April of last year when he was still in Caracas, and he was at I think some sort of a roadside protest someplace. This is kind of James absolutely actively involved in a lot of the freedom movement activities, protests. But here he is at this event, and they're selling merch. So he goes up to this table and they don't know who he is, even though he claims to be sort of the father of the convoy. Well, we know Bridget is the mother of the convoy, Bridget Belton. And here he is saying he's the guy who started the thing. And you watch to the end of this and you they're like, who the hell are you? Here.
What do we got going on here?
We got some wonderful glasses and shirts. No farmers, no food hats.
Look at that Unity. I like that one.
That one's a great one, isn't it?
No food.
That one's a good one.
We have some from the Unity Convoy 2023. But there's more colors of the
awesome. So where is this proceeds going to?
Us?
To you guys?
Yeah.
Perfect. Nothing wrong with that?
Proceeds go to?
I don't ask for proceeds. I'm James Bowder, so I have not asked for a dime from anybody.
Oh.
At all.
And what do you do then?
You should ask this lady what I do. This lady wants to know what I do.
Last time I saw him was his testimony at the National Citizens Inquiry.
If you don't know my name, maybe she can tell you who I am. She doesn't know what I do.
So, Mr. Bowder is instrumental in helping the country come together.
Oh, good.
I'm the founder of the Freedom Convoy, folks. I'm facing 15 years in jail. I've got a $400 million lawsuit on my butt, and I did start the convoy out of Calgary in August of 2021. I did 75 consecutive convoys in a row all across Canada. putting in all the back end legwork to get this country to come together for Ottawa. So does that answer your question?
Well, good for you is all I can say. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So there you go.
So
I don't think she was too impressed. I don't think she believed him. You can believe what you want. Multiple people claiming to be the people who started the convoy. Yeah. So James says that he doesn't ask for a dime. Well, that I don't know if that was true then or not, but certainly it's not the case now. I'm going to look here. James Bowder, fundraiser. I think he does ask for money. Yeah, here we go. Let me see. James Bowder. Oh, yeah. You hang on a second. I need to take a quick break. Going to be right back. So don't go away. I got more.
Maverick News. Fighting for freedom.
The information war is raging. Truth without integrity is worth nothing. Maverick News. Because those who have power and those who seek it must be held accountable.
The world is watching.
Join our family of truth seekers. Donate today and add your voice to the chorus of Maverick Knights. Donate at maverickdonations.com. Truth. Integrity. It's the Maverick way. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Yeah, he's definitely out there raising money. And he's getting help from quite a number of online social media outlets, including, I think, Rebel News. Who else is helping him? I think Police on Guard. And Laura Lynn, I think she was directing people to his donation page as well. I think so far, let me just see, what's he up to here? About almost 16,000 US is what's been raised for him on that one, through that one donation site. So it's happening. He's out there, has a right to do it. And he's not working, I guess. I don't know where he is, and I don't know what he's doing in the U.S. Maybe we'll have him back on the program sometime. Always happy to talk to him. Open invitation to James Bowder if he wants to come back on the program to update us on what's going on in his life and with his wife. Back to Venezuela. Here's Maduro, president of Venezuela, tonight. Let's take a look. Lots of pressure on Venezuela. What's he saying? Here we go. I will read while he talks, and I'll translate using the text on the captions. He says, how could I be a dictator if I was not trained at the School of Americas at Harvard?
¿Cómo voy a ser un dictador? Si no me formé en la Escuela de las Américas, ni en Harvard.
I was not trained at Langley, West Point, the School of the Americas, or
Yo no me
Harvard.
formé en Langley, West Point, Escuela de las Américas, ni Harvard. Yo me formé
I was trained in the high schools
en
of
los
Caracas,
liceos de Caracas, en los
in
barrios
the neighborhoods
del
of El Valle, Katia, Propatria, El Cementerio.
Valle, 23 de enero, Katia, Propatria, el cementerio. ¿Cómo voy a ser
How
un
could I be a
dictador?
dictator? Yeah. So that's Maduro. We're also seeing tonight that the Venezuelan Air Force, such as it is, it appears to be preparing for something maybe imminent. Here's a post on Visioner saying that after Trump's statements about closing airspace, the Venezuelan Air Force is preparing to confront U.S. aviation. Significant activity is observed at airports across Venezuelan territory involving fighter aircraft as well as military transport planes and helicopters, which are conducting emergency flights throughout the country. Let's bring it up. I'll show you. Not that the visuals are that exciting, but it's what we have to share with you tonight as things continue to escalate. The president of peace rattling the saber and Venezuela responding, sort of. So it is a picture of an airport transport plane. But you get the point. You get the point. I guess Eastern Polish airspace is closed tonight as well. Allied jets are moving out to counter what they say is a large Russian drone and cruise missile strike aimed at Ukraine. And flights at major Polish airports, including Lublin, have been suspended because of this sudden military activity, which began unfolding close to the border, raising concerns across the region. We've seen a lot of drone activity and even incursions into airspace of some NATO countries, including Poland, in recent weeks, giving rise to more concern. But what's going to happen there? And I'm seeing stuff posted about Ukraine tonight too, which I'm not sure. I'm inclined to not run much of it, if any, because I think we're getting a fair amount of propaganda coming from both sides on the Ukraine-Russia war story, and that is because I would say we have this meeting coming up, I think tomorrow. Certainly is it tomorrow or this week? Anyway, yeah, within the next day or two, a Ukrainian delegation going to Washington to further, I guess, discussions about the 28-point peace plan, which is now down to the 19-point peace plan, and I'm not sure exactly where that is all going. All right. Lots going on, eh? I'm so Canadian. They would never take me if I were an asylum seeker in the U.S., because I would say that and I would drive them crazy. Let's take another quick break. I'm going to come back. We're going to talk about this humanoid robot that just set a world record. So stay with me. More to come on the other side.
You know, someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on Earth.
The entire world is watching.
Every dictator, every crazy dictator in the world is watching.
The world is watching. On TV, the entire world is watching. On social media.
But the entire world is watching, and yes, they are seeing what we have apparently bravely been willing to say that others are thinking.
Stand for freedom. Literally stand for freedom. Let's get this done. The entire world is watching.
We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars.
Maverick News. Maverick News. Maverick News.
Let me have more control of my own destiny.
The world is watching.
I'm back. Before we get into the robot story, I just want to show you this. I've been touching a little bit on the Canada is a giant fentanyl lab with a gas station flooding the U.S. with illicit drugs story, which I keep saying is largely a pretext for political leverage and maybe more as Trump pursues the 51st state goal as part of the larger goal of asserting U.S. dominance within this geographic bloc. Here's this story tonight on CTV. Manitoba conservation officers tasked with border duties haven't seen much. Here's the border crossing that they've been monitoring to really, as a response to what Trump wants. It's been 11 months since Manitoba started using conservation officers as extra sets of eyes on the United States border in response to U.S. President Donald Trump's claims that migrants and drug smugglers were pouring in from Canada. And it turns out they haven't seen much at all. Quote, to my knowledge, there was actually no activity that they observed. Ian Bushy, Manitoba's natural resources minister, said in an interview. Kyle Ross, head of the Manitoba government and General Employees Union, which represents conservation officers, said he hadn't heard of any incidents either. And in response to a Freedom of Information request by the Canadian press, and this is actually a CP story, the Natural Resources Department said it found no records showing that conservation officers helped seize drugs, stop migrants, or make arrests. RCMP and the Canada Border Services Agency directed questions to the Manitoba government. The announcement last winter that 11 conservation officers would be shifted closer to border areas was one of several moves by Ottawa and the provinces in response to Trump's threats to impose 25% tariffs on Canadian and Mexican goods. I have the solution to the whole problem. I'll share it with you in just a moment. Well, there are two things you can do, actually, that I've figured out to deal with Donald Trump. The security plan, which also included more overtime for RCMP officers and money for snowmobiles and other items, was estimated to cost $1.4 million. So basically, you've got these guys sitting out there looking at the snow, freezing their gonads off, waiting for something that just never came. You want to know how you deal with this? You do the Trump. You just make shit up. That's all you got to do. Yeah, we made a budget. We're throwing $10 billion at it. And then you wait 2 or 3 days, and then you come out and you say, it was the worst ever. It was. We had drug dealers coming in every day. It was at record levels. The country was under siege from narco terrorists. But now we have this new report from the RCMP, which shows that since we've implemented these measures, narco terrorism has been cut because of our border enforcement by 99.99999%. And now there's nothing. We've completely shut it down. And then you just get a chart and you put a bunch of stuff on it and you hold it up. You say, see, and you make a graph and you have a giant arrow going up, a graph going up when it was, before, and then you did, and then it goes right down to zero. Problem solved. And then you say, see? And it's over. That's all you got to do. Just like him. Oh, get some facts together or something. And then if you're really worried about it, if you really want to reinforce, your strategy, you get the Prime Minister to fly down to either the White House or to Mar-a-Lago and just take a gift of something with it seems to be substantial or whatever. Make a donation to their ballroom. That's what a lot of these big corporations are doing. Just do the same thing. Just give them a bunch of money. Give them a gift. Problem solved. Tariffs will be cut by 50% overnight. The narco terrorism thing, you've nipped that in the bud with your own political narrative. And if you, and then those guys can go home to their families for Christmas instead of sitting out there on the frozen plains in the snow. They look so lonely. Oh, dare. Yeah. But some people want to believe what they want to believe. That's okay. You can do that if you want. Whatever you want to believe, you go ahead. What else do we have for you? Oh, yeah, I've still got to get to the robot story, right? We'll get there. And I want to show you this as we segue into it. Like we've been talking about AI, and this is related to AI, obviously. This is CBC Tonight. Every single day now, I am seeing like stories about AI everywhere. They have it's turned into a beat, like a news beat, a category with it's an area of specialization for reporters even. And it meshes, it blends into or bleeds over into financial reporting and economics as well. Here it is here. If the AI bubble pops, will the whole U.S. economy go with it? So that's the story. As investors pour billions into artificial intelligence, warnings of a looming AI bubble are intensifying. Andrew Chang explains what's fueling those fears and breaks it down. So we won't get into that tonight, but we've talked about that to some degree here, other evenings as well. And that is a real concern because if these AI when some of these AI companies begin to implode because of competition, and it's intense, it's not clear what kind of shockwaves that will send through the stock market and then through the economy at large on the U.S. side, in Canada, in the West, around the world, as we have the AI race continuing to escalate as well. That's what the energy thing is all about. That's why, they need that oil, natural gas, and nuclear power and hydroelectric power to power these AI data centers, which are largely in the planning stages now, soon to be built, soon to be online, sucking up massive amounts of energy. That's why China wants that Canadian oil. That's why Donald Trump wants that oil from Canada, Venezuela, other oil countries. In fact, if you go and watch that podcast with Peter Mansbridge, The Bridge, They touch on that briefly in there as well, because that's one of the main drivers behind the whole pipeline from Alberta to the West Coast through British Columbia, and the talk about supplying more oil to the Asian market, which is China. That's the Canadian way of saying China without freaking Donald Trump out and having his head blow up. You're selling what to China? You're not allowed to do that. You're the 51st state, whether you like it or not. Invade! Close the airspace. Oh, Rick, you're being hyperbolic. Am I? I don't think so. Maybe not. Maybe not. All right, let's get into the robot story, shall we? This is the first, really, I guess it's sort of the first affordable, consumer-ready robot being kind of unveiled or announced today. Chinese robotics company AGM has set a new world record for the longest distance walked by a humanoid robot with their bipedal automaton named A2. And so between November 10th and 13th, it walked 66.04 miles. This is in China. From Jinji Lake in Suzhou, China, to North Bund area in Shanghai. According to the Guinness Book of World Records and AGM, the journey is equivalent to 2.5 full marathons. It traversed complex routes, including urban areas, national highways, bridges, overcoming challenges like day-night alternation and low-light environments, running continuously without shutting down. All that according to the company. And that's on a YouTube channel they have. I'm going to show you what this bot looks like. It's over 5 feet tall, weighs 150 pounds. So I think I could still take it in a fight because I'm getting fat. So I got a little weight on him. Not much. I'm kind of like a skinny fat guy. Skinny, but getting old and fat in all the right places. AGM A2 apparently delivers a highly natural and comfortable human-robot interaction experience, according to the website from the company, making it ideal for roles such as marketing and customer service, exhibition hall presentations, supermarket guidance, front desk reception, and business inquiries. I see. So it becomes kind of like a business prop, a conversation piece. It's like people will come to your business to see the bot. And these videos show the robot blinking, winking with a LED-powered face display. The robot gets coffees for humans, plays and dances in a band. We got to recruit him for Maverick and the News Brothers. Here, let's bring it. Here is a report from ABC on this. Let's see what they have to say about it. I think they have some of the footage from the company in this, so you'll see what A2 looks like and how he functions, or she, or the bot.
Wouldn't be opposed to having some extra help around the house, but how would you feel about a robot taking on your chores? I want to introduce you to Neo. This is the latest creation by a tech company, 1X. It's billed as the world's first consumer-ready robot designed to transform life at home. Oh, making coffee. The company says Neo can complete the tasks you see there, opening doors, folding laundry, tidying spaces. And I'll reiterate, making your coffee. It's available now for pre-order. Here for more is Jacob Ward, tech journalist and host of the Rip Current podcast. I'm in immediate need, apparently, of a cup of coffee. How big of a deal is the arrival of a consumer-ready robot like this? And do you think that people would utilize this, welcome it into their home?
I mean, it's absolutely a revolution in terms of what a robot can do. I was once the editor-in-chief of Popular Science back before 2013, and back then, you know, just a single digit of a robot's hand would cost what the sticker price of this thing is going to be, which is about $20,000. Forever, right, our robots have been ones that have been specifically committed to a very single task, right, grabbing one piece and putting it into a car chassis. And that's because we haven't been able to build robots at an affordable price that could do something like deal with a, you know, a rack full of clothes or deal with the coffee that you want so much, Kana. And so this idea that you for $20,000 can pull that off is kind of incredible. On the other hand, right, $20,000 is quite a lot to pay up front for something like this. And the company says that it's going to need human operators to teach certain tasks to the robot remotely, because it's not always going to know your coffee maker or how to get a few dishes into your dishwasher, Kana.
Oh, the specifics of your house. But in terms of cost and ability, let's look 5, 10 years down the road. I mean, how quickly is this thing going to go? How low could the price drop? And do you see this as something common in households?
Well, I think the big thing to think about here, right, is that as we think right now about AI, which is what I spend so much of my time thinking around, you know, we've been talking about the threat to jobs when it comes to knowledge work, right? And we've thought, well, but being a barber or being a plumber, that job is safe. Well, I would just point out, this thing is evidence that all sorts of automation is coming for all sorts of work. And so on the one hand, I think this could be really good. We're in a position where we're going to need an incredible amount of help at home. Boomers are about to become the absolutely number one category of population as they get older. We don't have the help they're going to need. Is this going to stand in for that? Not really clear. But what we're seeing here, of course, is that the price of an actual robot that can come in and manipulate things in such a way that they could conceivably replace a human worker, that's all been science fiction in the past, but that's becoming real now, Kana.
Right. It's a good point there, how this could look for someone like a nurse or a caretaker or people in need of those folks. Jake Ward, it's always wonderful to have you on. Thank you for being here with us.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, she makes a good point at the end. You have somebody who is elderly, that needs constant care. Yeah, that could be a big plus. On the other hand, unintended consequences, you always have some of those. Do you want to look at the video? I don't know if I'm going to get a copyright strike if I... Let's take a look at the corporate video from this company. I may pull the audio down because I'd really rather not have the music copyright strike on the channel. Here we go. AGM 2. Longest distance walked by humanoid.
I am the AGM 2. Starting from Jinji Lake in Suzhou, I will walk 100 kilometers to finally reach the North Bund in Shanghai. Okay,
I'm going to pull it down so we don't get nailed with that copyright strike, because I bet you there's some copyright stuff there. But you see the bot, there he is. He's on his long trek. What I don't understand is, like, why is there even a limit on how far he can walk? He's a bot. As long as you recharge him, can't he just keep on walking? Like a car? Oh, look at him blinking and winking. Blinky and Winky. There's a name for him. Hey, Blinky. Hey, I don't know. You guys can name him in the chat. Maybe we can adopt him. Blinky Winky. Hang on, does he have a voice? Sounds like maybe he has a voice.
robotics history, and marathons. This marks the first cross-provincial walk in robotics history, and it also breaks the world record for the longest walking distance by a humanoid robot. I look forward to taking on more challenges in the future. See you next time!
That sounds like that's supposed to be his voice, but they could give him any voice they want. They could give him your voice, my voice, or the voice of Mickey Mouse, I suppose. Sounds like they have to do some refining, though. That's the way it is today, November 29th, 2025. Imagine what it will be like 6 months from now, a year from now, 10 years from now. That's where the technology is, and it's progressing at an exponential rate. And I was thinking about the War of the Worlds thing, and now I am making the digital download of the soundtrack available to people who donate to the channel, but we're going to do something a little bit different, and I'm still developing exactly what's going to go into this. It might just be the CDs alone, but I'm trying to think of a couple of other things, if it's possible, to add on as a thank you and to send out to people who donate to the program. So yeah, we're going to release these sort of retro styled CDs, which look like 45 RPM single vinyl records. And we're going to put the full soundtrack, like all the songs, on the CD from War of the Worlds, our presentation from what? That's about a week ago now, right? Yeah. So we'll do that, and we'll be sending those out to people who donate. I'll tell you exactly what. It might just be the CDs. I've got another idea that I might be able to add on to that even more. So we'll see how that goes. But they're kind of cool because they look like 45 RPM records. So we'll have that on the disc, and that made me think about Mars. And while I'm thinking about Mars, there are new images from Mars coming out to just come out. So I thought I'd share some of those with you tonight before we close off tonight's broadcast. Let's check it out, shall we? Brand new, fresh from the Red Planet. This is from AstroPix. So this is actually from Earth looking up, as you can see. That's actually the Moon, Mars, and Venus. Sorry, that's not the one I wanted to show you. Hang on, I've got some directly coming. I found them. They're out there. They're out there. This is Phobos, a moon of Mars. Here we go. So this isn't actually the planet, but this is a moon of Mars, Phobos. I don't know what that thing is. Some sort of a satellite, I guess. Or floating something. Aliens? Not sure. Hang on. Let me get you more. Okay, because we had... I think there were some actual pictures on the surface of Mars released. Yeah. Here we go. This is a picture of Mars taken today. This is the one. I found it. We've got it again. This is the tab. A picture from Mars released today. How exciting is this? It's pretty exciting. 225 million miles away. There it is. Doesn't look very red to me, though. Not sure what part of the planet this was taken from. Looking kind of yellow, brownish, sort of, to me. But there's much to learn about the red planet. Hopefully they don't invade anytime soon. But maybe we'll do a sequel to the War of the Worlds broadcast. Seemed people liked it. It was a lot of work, but it was fun too. And I appreciate everybody that contributed to it. There's more to come. More to come from Mars, more to come from Musk. Yeah, a lot more to come. Do we have our closing song here tonight? I think we do. Let me see if I can find it. Well, you know what it should be. It's gotta be, if I can. Where are you? There we go. This is the one we want. We want to show you Megamars. I'll see you guys back here tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern, on the flip side.
He's got a plan. It's bold and grand, taking over land, sea and sand. Canada's ours. Greenland's in the mix. The Panama Canal's just another fix. But Mars, oh Mars, you pesky red sphere, your spying drones are making it clear. It's a threat to Earth, a cosmic sin. But don't worry, folks, he'll make Mars great again. MAGA Mars, you're the 53rd state. Under Trump, your future is great. With Elon Musk and the Space Force too, we're slapping tariffs on your Martian crew. Make Mars great, yeah, make Mars ours. Wave that flag on the red rock stars. We'll impose sanctions, taxes, and fines. Martian exports know they're crossing the line. The Martians cry foul, but Trump doesn't care. He'll build a space wall floating up there. Elon's on board with rockets ablaze. The stock market's loving this Martian craze. He says, trust me, folks, I know the deal. Martian gold is ours, this plan is real. MAGA Mars, you're the 53rd state. Under Trump, your future is great. With Elon Musk and the Space Force too, we're slapping tariffs on your Martian crew. Make Mars great, yeah, make Mars ours. Wave that flag on the red rock stars. Yeah, Mars hotels with golf resorts, intergalactic trade reports, a MAGA dome where Martians bow. We've got the best Martians, Trump says now. Fake news claims the plan's absurd, but Trump tweets back, it's the final word. Martian drones not on my watch. Space Force ready to kick it up a notch. MAGA Mars, you're the 53rd state. Under Trump, your future is great. With Elon Musk and the Space Force too, we're slapping tariffs on your Martian crew. Make Mars great, yeah, make Mars ours. Wave that flag on the red rock stars. So buckle up for the Martian fight. Trump's taking over the Martian night. It's all for freedom, it's all for the win. Oh, say can you see, he'll make Mars great again. Make Mars great, yeah, make Mars ours. Wave that flag on the red rock stars. So buckle up for the Martian fight. Trump's taking over the Martian night. It's all for freedom, it's all for the win. Oh, say, can you see, he'll make Mars great again.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.